Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news at 6 here on Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you the day's top developing stories. So let's start with the headlines. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley targets rising incidents of intolerance, appeals for calm and restraint, urges people to engage in debate, not vandalism. Amid galloping rise in the prices of pulses, the father of India's Green Revolution, MS Swaminathan, calls for increased focus on agriculture. Centre reviews steps to increase supply. Under pressure over rape cases, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal cites corruption in Delhi police, tells Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hand over law and order to his government. The Sultan of Multan, Virendra Sehwag, finally makes it official, retires from all forms of cricket after a career spanning over a decade. And Justin Trudeau is Canada's new Prime Minister after his Liberal Party wins an outright majority in Parliament. Outgoing Premier Stephen Harper concedes defeat, ending his party's 9-year run in power. Top story this Tuesday evening, seeking to send a strong message to those indulging in vandalism. The centre has criticised such methods for expressing opposing views. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, for one, urged for a more civilised way to protest than launching attacks. However, opposition has sought stricter action against those indulging in these acts of vandalism.
On Tuesday, the centre broke its silence over the recent debate on rising intolerance in the country. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley appealed for calm and restraint while urging people to engage in debate, not vandalism.
The past few days have seen an extremely disturbing trend where some people have been resorting to vandalism as an instrument of registering their protest or conveying their views.
His statement came a day after President Pranab Mukherjee appealed for maintaining pluralism in society. On behalf of the centre, Jaitley also came out strongly against those indulging in vandalism.
I have no difficulty if people convey contrarian views, because that's the essence of democracy and debate. But the debate will have to be conducted in a manner in which we are able to raise the level of debate rather than use vandalism as an instrument for registering our opinions or our protests.
Opposition parties, including the Congress, have sought strong action against those threatening the peace and harmony through such acts.
अगर प्रधानमंत्री, वित्त मंत्री और सरकार गंभीर हैं, तो वो देश को आश्वस्त करने के लिए तमाम ऐसे व्यक्तियों के विरुद्ध जो उनके दल में हैं, चाहे संसदीय दल में हैं, कार्रवाई करें.
Something needs to be done by the government. The government has to act. They are not acting. By not acting, clearly they are patronizing these forces. So that is the basic point. Stop giving us sanctimonious speeches and stop preaching. Act.
Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had urged to shun violent means to protest after the row over the Dadri lynching incident. Jaitley's remarks came after BJP ally Shiv Sena forced cancellation of talks between Indo-Pak Cricket Board chiefs on Monday. The party had also praised those who smeared ink on former party leader Sudhindra Kulkarni for participating in the book launch event of former Pakistan Foreign Minister Khurshid Mahmood Qasuri last week. Vishal Dahiya's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
Meanwhile, violence continues in Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag district for the third day as protesters clashed with police over mob killing of a truck driver. At least 4 protesters have been injured as police used pellet guns and tear gas shells to disperse the mob. JKLF chairman Mohammad Yasin Malik was also detained along with 4 others shortly after they visited the residence of the truck driver. A shutdown is also being observed in many parts of the district. Due to clashes, Srinagar-Jammu National Highway was closed once again.
इस कश्मीरी कौम के जो पुरअमन एहतिजाज के तरीके हैं, उन पुरअमन एहतिजाज के तरीकों को मत रोको. इसलिए इस्लामाबाद के लाल चौक जो पूरे साउथ कश्मीर की अलामत है, हमने फैसला किया है हम उस लाल चौक में 24 घंटे तक बैठेंगे और एक मुनज़्ज़म एहतजाजी भूख हड़ताल वहां पर होगी अभी से।
Well, central forces have been deployed in key cities of Punjab. Meanwhile, in view of the statewide protests over the alleged desecration of the Sikh holy book, on Monday, Sikh groups had blocked highways across the state, demanding action against those responsible for the sacrilege. The protesters have threatened to continue the blockade till the 25th of October. Punjab is witnessing a spate of protests during which 2 people lost their lives in police action. Congress and Aam Aadmi Party leaders met the Punjab governor on Tuesday and demanded the dismissal of the Prakash Singh Badal government and the imposition of president's rule in the state. The chief minister has meanwhile convened an emergency cabinet meeting on the crisis, considered the worst in his tenure. Shifting focus now, calling for an increased focus on the agriculture sector, MS Swaminathan has said that the future belongs to countries that prioritize grains, not guns. The father of India's Green Revolution, Swaminathan has urged the government to give priority to the agriculture sector, which is the backbone of its economy. He also called for increased focus on science. Swaminathan also said this, said this during a presentation at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington. He also lamented that agriculture was not receiving the necessary attention in India. Although he did praise the Prime Minister, saying that his intentions were good, he also said that things were not happening the way that they should be at the ground level. Swaminathan also highlighted the need to maintain social protection methods and strengthen them further. The other area of focus, according to him, is food storage losses that are now very high. Meanwhile, the centre today reviewed action taken by state governments to check the price rise in pulses. A meeting of secretaries was informed that in the last few months, 5 states have taken action on hoarders and seized over 5,800 tons. The matter also became fodder for politics, with 2 ministers accusing the Bihar government of contributing to the fall in production.
Unnerved by the galloping price hike, the centre on Tuesday reviewed the supply situation of pulses. At a meeting of secretaries of various ministries, the cabinet secretary took stock of the production, procurement and availability.
Government is concerned about price rise of pulses. It has taken several measures to control the prices of pulses. It has banned export of pulses. There is zero import duty on import of pulses. So continuously we are making efforts to increase the availability of pulses even through imports.
Union Agriculture Minister Radha Mohan Singh kicked up a controversy on the issue. He claimed pole-bound Bihar was contributing to the declining production, which he said had fallen from 5.43 lakh tons in 2012-13 to 4.2 lakh tons in 2014-15, a charge that his party leaders took up.
बिहार के अंदर जो टाल का इलाका है, वहाँ दाल की बड़े पैमाने पर उत्पादन होता है, पैदावार होती है। पिछले 2 वर्षों में दाल का उत्पादन क्यों घट गया? इसका जवाब बिहार की सरकार को देना चाहिए।
Union Minister Ramvilas Paswan accused the Bihar government of neither fixing the stock limit nor taking action against hoarders. JDU leaders, however, rejected the allegations.
दिल्ली में इनके सारे ऑफिसेज हैं। दिल्ली में इतना दाम क्यों बढ़ गया? और दिल्ली में दाम जितना बढ़ गया और प्रदेशों में, तो उसका तो जवाब देना चाहिए, तब बिहार की बात करना चाहिए।
Meanwhile, the Congress staged a protest over the climbing prices of pulses in Mumbai.
देश में 50 लाख टन दाल की किल्लत है। 5,000
All right, on this story, we've in fact got in studio Himanshu Vats, who's the senior assistant editor with the Economic Times. Mr. Vats, thanks so much for being here with us. You know, we'll talk about the pulse crisis, but just talking about MS Swaminathan and that statement, in fact, that speech that he made, you know, how significant is that looking at the current scenario that we're seeing across the country?
I think it's very significant because, you know, if you see the last few years, the monsoon is getting increasingly erratic. We had a drought in 2009. This year monsoon was bad. Last year it was bad. The population and income are growing. And therefore, the food demand is robust, whereas food production is not very good. One of the problems with agriculture is that, you know, overall in the economy, it contributes just maybe 14-15% of GDP. And therefore, it gets relatively smaller attention from economists and overall discussions in the economy. But around 2/3 of Indian population depends directly or indirectly on agriculture. And so if you're talking of general well-being of the people, agriculture has to take leaps and bounds. We have seen industries grow rapidly after liberalization. We've seen the services sector grow, software grow, everything has grown. Agriculture has not grown the way it should, and it's very important since the majority of the country depends on it.
That's right. And just talking now about the pulse crisis that we are seeing, of course, the government saying that it's trying to do whatever it can, as far as checking, of course, in particular states as well. We are, of course, seeing the politics that's going on now, accusing Bihar as well about it. But, there is, of course, a bigger crisis that we do see when it comes to pulses being known as the orphan crops. If you could elaborate on that.
Yeah. See, for many, many years, India has been producing not enough pulses to meet the demand. Pulses are important because in a largely vegetarian society, pulses, lentils are a very important source of protein for people. So what you really need is some incentives for farmers to grow much more pulses. Today we have a slightly ironic situation that farmers in Canada to Australia are making money growing pulses for the Indian market. They're not consumed so heavily in those markets. So there's no reason why, much more effort should not be made, whether it is pulses or oil seeds. Our agricultural policies, and I'm not blaming a particular government, it's been over decades.
Yes.
From a time when, there was a fear of shortage of wheat and rice many, many years ago, our policies have encouraged much more of wheat and rice production. And what happens as a result is, at times there's overproduction, storage is not good enough. That's another point MS Swaminathan raised.
Yes.
And when storage is not good, a lot of what you have produced and spent subsidy money on gets eaten by rats. So that's not a good situation. Measures against traders are, good in the short term for the sentiment. But the basic reason pulse prices are rising is not because traders are manipulating, it's because of the fundamentals. Production is not enough, demand is high. You had 2 successive failed monsoons. You had a bad winter crop also last year because of unseasonal rain. So while this crackdown by the government is good to the extent there are some traders who are unscrupulous, but on the whole it requires a strong policy initiative to make sure much more pulses and oil seeds and these kind of crops are grown.
Absolutely. And very quickly, taking a little bit from what Mr. Swaminathan said about Mr. Narendra Modi's policies, saying that, the Prime Minister's vision, of course, was, was right. What he's hoping to achieve is, of course, right. However, on the ground level, we're not seeing that translate. That's something that has come, to him from various other leaders as well, various other experts as well, isn't it?
See, as far as this government's policies are concerned, they are trying to increase the growth rate of the economy. And, there are many big problems they have to tackle, whether it's inflation that has already been tackled, there's not enough demand in the economy, the growth rate needs to be faster, infrastructure investment has to be done, and agriculture, as I said, is, 14-15% of the economy. So when you look at the overall economy, the effort given towards agriculture is not so much.
Yes.
And also, the agriculture sector is not as articulate as the corporate sector. In corporate sector, if one sector, whether it is steel is going down a bit, all the newspaper, all the specialists are talking about it.
Yes.
Or if aviation is down, everybody is talking about it. But agriculture does not get that kind of attention.
Not as glamorous, of course, as the other industries, definitely. We'll leave it there for now. Mr. Vaz, thanks so much for joining us, helping us understand the story further. We'll take a quick break here on the news at 6, but still ahead, the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has arrived in Moscow for a 3-day visit. We'll get you details of that in a bit.
The poll juggernaut rolls out in Bihar. Modi's NDA takes on Nitish's Grand Alliance. Who will win this most important election battle since 2014? Watch Verdict 2015, Monday through Saturday on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. News from the national capital now. In facing criticism after the rape of 2 minors last week, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has asked Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hand over the control of the national capital's law and order matters to his government. He also cited a survey which claims that the Delhi police is at its most corrupt ever. Responding to the charges, the Delhi police chief has announced a reward for evidence against officials.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's tussle with the centre and the Lieutenant Governor for more power to his government continues. He has now taken to Twitter asking the centre to hand over the national capital's law and order matters to the state government. He urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi to work together with him to improve the situation. The AAP government has been facing criticism after 2 minors were allegedly raped in Delhi last week. Kejriwal had put the onus on the centre, saying his government does not have control over Delhi police.
ACB के कमजोर होने की वजह से जो हमारा दायरा पहले MCD और पुलिस तक था वो घटा है और निश्चित रूप से उसका असर दिख रहा है.
Department, the most corrupt department, it is not said by Aam Aadmi Party, but it is said by an independent agency. Survey has proved it and done it. And I hope that Mr. Bassi should take care of his own department, which is proved to be the most corrupt department.
Kejriwal also cited a new survey that claims the city's police department as the most corrupt. He also pointed out that the survey claims corruption is down in state government departments. However, the Delhi police chief has dismissed the survey's claims. He announced a reward of 25,000 rupees to anyone who will give proof against corrupt Delhi police officials.
मैं इस प्रकार के सर्वे के साथ में को चैलेंज नहीं करना चाहूँगा. अगर इस तरह की बात है तो हमारे लिए एक अब फर्दर चैलेंज है कि हम दिल्ली पुलिस से करप्शन को टोटली ख़त्म करें. आज से हम अनाउंस करने वाले हैं फॉर योर इन्फॉर्मेशन कि जो भी व्यक्ति किसी पुलिसकर्मी के खिलाफ ऑडियो वीडियो एविडेंस देगा बेईमानी का, उसको 25,000 रुपया इनाम दिया जाएगा.
Kejriwal had stepped up the attack on the centre, the LG and the Delhi police after the 2 rape incidents last week. On Sunday, after meeting LG Najib Jung, Kejriwal had alleged Jungle Raj in the national capital under the Delhi police. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some more updates from across the country and nationwide. A Delhi court today convicted former Uber cab driver Shiv Kumar Yadav on charges of raping a woman passenger in New Delhi last December. Yadav faces a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. The court will announce its verdict on Friday. The BJP questioned the fairness of the ongoing Panchayat elections in Uttar Pradesh. It accused the ruling Samajwadi Party of influencing officials after senior leaders were video recorded capturing booths and intimidating officials in Mainpuri and Etah. 2 Dalit children were burnt alive by a mob who set their house on fire in Faridabad Sonpet village this morning. Their parents, in fact, suffered severe injuries. The police are looking for the suspects, who are Rajputs. Protesting students of the Film and Television Institute of India from Pune met Union Minister Rajya Singh Rathore in an attempt to end their 4-month strike. The Pune Institute students are demanding the removal of actor Gajendra Chauhan as the FTII chairman. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj arrived in Moscow on a 3-day visit late last night. Sushma will co-chair the 21st session of the annual India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission meeting with her Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Earlier, Swaraj also took part in the Industries Ministers' meet of BRIC nations. She laid out a roadmap for lowering corporate taxes and the opportunities in India for trade and investment. Of course, ahead of her arrival in Russia, Sushma had a stopover in Ashgabat in Turkmenistan. She held talks with her Turkmenish counterpart Rashid Meredov on key issues including the Tapi gas pipeline and the Ashgabat Agreement on Trade and Transit.
Сегодня мы хотели бы обсудить здесь, в Министерстве иностранных дел, наше внешнеполитическое взаимодействие, как в общем плане, с учетом традиционно совместных инициатив и действий на международной арене, так и в свете того, что к Индии переходит со следующего года председательство в БРИКС.
जहाँ तक हमारे द्विपक्षीय संबंधों का सवाल है, मैं एक बात ये कहना चाहूँगी कि हम जब भी विश्लेषण करते हैं तो एक चीज़ पाते हैं कि पूरे विश्व में अगर हमारा कोई जांचा परखा मित्र है, असली दोस्त है, वो रूस है।
In other international news, Justin Trudeau has been elected the new Prime Minister of Canada with a promise of change and returning a tuff of glamour, youth and charisma. Liberal leader Trudeau beat Stephen Harper's Conservatives to score a stunning victory.
Canada's Liberal leader Justin Trudeau led his party to a parliamentary majority in an unprecedented turn in political fortunes. The Liberals' stunning victory has smashed the record for the number of seats gained from one election to the next.
Canadians have spoken. You want a government with a vision and an agenda for this country that is positive and ambitious and hopeful. Well, my friends, I promise you tonight that I will lead that government. I will make that vision a reality. I will be that Prime Minister.
The turn in fortunes has been stunning for the Liberals. They were a distant third before the polls. Trudeau vaulted from third place to lead the polls in the final days of campaigning. Stephen Harper conceded defeat, ending his government's 9-year run in power and his own brand of fiscal and cultural conservatism.
Our country is one of the most enduring democracies in the world today. And today, for the 42nd time in 148 years, Canadians have chosen a national parliament. Well, tonight's result is certainly not the one we had hoped for. The people are never wrong.
43-year-old Justin Trudeau is the son of former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. He promises to invest in infrastructure to stimulate the country's anemic economic growth. He has also promised to repair Canada's relations with the US, withdraw Canada from the combat mission against Islamic State militants, and tackle climate change. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's take you through some more international news updates in Global Buzz. A bomb blast in a passenger bus killed at least 11 people and injured 22 others in Balochistan. The explosion took place just when the vehicle was about to leave a bus terminal at Quetta Saryab Road. No group claimed responsibility for the attack. Pakistani Foreign Secretary Aizaz Chaudhry said that his country had developed low-yield nuclear weapons in response to what he called India's cold start doctrine. He also said that Pakistan will not sign any nuclear deal with the US during Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's visit to Washington. Russian airstrikes killed a top rebel commander and several others in Syria's Latakia province. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that 45 people, both rebels and civilians, were killed in the strikes on Monday evening. On to cricket now, and Virender Sehwag has retired from international cricket and the Indian Premier League, bringing to end an illustrious career spanning over a decade. Sehwag made the announcement on his 37th birthday via Twitter with a crisp message that he would no longer be playing the IPL either. Considered one of the most destructive batsmen in world cricket, Sehwag scored over 8,000 runs in 104 tests with an impressive average of close to 50. He is the only triple centurion in tests for India, having scored a career-best knock of 319 against Pakistan in Multan. In 251 ODIs, he scored 8,273 runs at an average of 35.05. In 19 T20 internationals, he managed 394 runs with 2 half-centuries. We'll be seeing more of him, of course, but now let's give you some more sports news in Sportsbeat. PCB Chairman Shahryar Khan met IPL Chief Rajiv Shukla today after what was described a courtesy call. Khan was to hold talks with BCCI President Shashank Manohar in Mumbai on Monday, but the plan was aborted after angry Shiv Sena activists stormed the board office protesting the resumption of Indo-Pak cricketing ties. Following those protests by Shiv Sena, former Pakistani cricket players and TV commentators Wasim Akram and Shoaib Akhtar will not be commentating for the 5th ODI, which is to be played in Mumbai. The duo will be in the commentary box for the 4th ODI, though, in Chennai, and will return to Pakistan 2 days before the final match. Earlier, the ICC withdrew Pakistani umpire Aleem Dar from officiating in the remaining 2 matches of the ongoing ODI series. In tennis, Indian player Yuki Bhamri has become only the third Indian after Leander Paes and Somdev Devvarman to break into the top 100 ATP rankings in the past 20 years. Ranked 99 in the world, Bhamri had qualified for the Australian Open earlier this year. Tamil Nadu's S.A. Bhavani Devi has won the bronze medal at the Flemish Open Fencing Championship in Belgium. Bhavani lost her semi-final match 10-15 to Ni Lao of Singapore to finish joint third. Oscar Pistorius is out on parole and will serve the rest of his sentence under house arrest. He still has to face an appeal by prosecutors who argue that he should have been convicted of murder rather than culpable homicide. Pistorius will be confined to his uncle Arnold's home in Pretoria. That's all we have for you on the news at 6. Thanks so much for joining us.